Tell me below, what is cool and different about one of your family traditions? When I was little, for Thanksgiving, we had turkey in the basement. Well, at least that's what we called it. My dad grew up in this small town in Illinois, and he had a lot of cousins and aunts and uncles, and like everybody lived in this town, right, with him. So when my brother and I were younger, we would go back to his hometown for Thanksgiving every year. But the family, like the gathering for the family had grown so big that it was too big to have at one person's house. So before I was born, they started doing this thing that they called turkey in the basement, where they took the local Catholic school and they rented out the basement of the school because that was a large gathering area that the whole family could be. It had a commercial kitchen in it, and it had a large eating area, and it had a stage, and it had chairs, and like it was bigger than we possibly needed for the family gatherings, but there was, probably 50 or 60 people, this mass amount of people on my dad's side of the family. We would go to this school, we would go into the basement, they'd set up this big buffet line, I'd have all of my cousins and aunts and uncles and everybody would be there, and we would bring our bikes and we would ride our bikes around in the basement and like our scooters. We would play cards and we would play games and we would put on like talent shows on the stage, and they had a bingo machine, so we would play bingo, and like it was like, I thought that's what Thanksgiving was. I just assumed everybody did that for Thanksgiving. They like went to their, local school, they rented out the basement, and they had turkey in the basement. When I realized that, Thanksgiving wasn't that, is when we stopped doing it. So I don't think you realize a family tradition is a family tradition until it's not a tradition anymore. And I remember the first year we had Thanksgiving at home, it was strange. It was like just my brother and I and my mom and dad. We might have had a couple relatives there, but I don't think many. And that Thanksgiving holiday just kind of evolved. So the tradition now is that Mike and I host Thanksgiving for my parents and Mike's parents and like this new blended family that we've created. I think back about how we all have these traditions, and sometimes you don't realize they're traditions, or you don't realize they're different from other people's traditions until you're older and you look back at it and you go, wow, that really was kind of unique and different. I was thinking about this the other day, and I thought there's probably a lot of our followers in our community that have similar stories. So